Hello and welcome to today's webinar. Today we're going to be discussing how Flowcase works for normal users. That is, users who have the designation of normal user. In order to change your user access rights, you need to be an administrator. If you feel that you need more or less access rights, please contact any administrator within your organization and they'll be able to change your user access rights for you. So for the purposes of today's webinar, I'm logged in as a normal user. We're starting here on the company overview screen. This is where we can see CV content, so where we can see information for other CVs. We can search for CV content, and we can see reference projects as well and create reference projects. So with the normal user role, we can see other resumes and CVs. We can also check and read through those CVs. We can download them as well using our default template. So we are given all of those accesses. The main focus of today's conversation is going to be about the My CV page, how it works, how we fill it in, and how we work with it. So we'll just jump to that. So again, what I did there was click on the My CV button in the top right corner. And it takes us right to our own profile, where we can start filling in information, we can update our profile image, and we'll start talking about the My CV page, starting at the top, working our way to the bottom. So in the top left, we have our preview or edit mode. Preview gives you a locked-in view of what your profile looks like. Edit allows you to make changes. We can quickly download our CV using a number of file types. We have Word, PDF, PowerPoint, or InDesign. We can select our language, or we can select another language to download our CV in. Now, please keep in mind, in order to download your resume in another language, you need to have your resume filled out in said language, and I'll show you how to do that momentarily. We can return to the company overview screen by clicking that button in the top right. Then we have our Translate CV. So if we open up this box, we can see the language that we're showing our CV in, so show CV language. It's currently set to English, or we can translate it to another language using this box. So we can see if I open this up, I have the German version selected here. I can change this on the fly, change it to Spanish, Chinese, etc., etc. I can also change the default language for this CV. If I change that, what this is going to do, it's going to change the language of the user interface for the owner of the CV. So for me, it will change my user interface, and it will change the default selected language when downloading, previewing, or editing the CV. So I can change that. We're going to keep it in English. Continuing at the top of the screen, we have our custom tags, as well as our country and department. Our country and department is set by the administrators and through the user page. So that's where that is managed. Then we have our custom tags as well. So we can remove custom tags or we can add custom tags as we see fit. So these are handled through the customize workspace option through the administrator rights. So your administrators can add custom tag categories and custom tags inside of those categories. So if I want to select a custom tag, it's as easy as that. I click on the add custom tag, select the custom tag within it, and then it populates at the top. And removing a custom tag is as easy as clicking on the tag and clicking remove custom tag. These custom tags will allow us to search, and I'm going to show you the search function a little bit later. It allows us to find right people that have the correct custom tags associated with them. So moving along, we have our profile image, our name, year of birth, email, position, telephone number, and nationality. There's some extra fields that can be turned on and off by the administrators as well. Moving down, we have our summary of qualifications. This is where we can write a little bit of a bio about ourselves, a little blurb about our professional history, about what we're targeting for our resume in this instance. If we're responding to a specific RFP, we can have a specific summary of qualifications available. We can see here I have one for my customer success management experience. If I want to, I can add additional summaries of qualification. I can give the summary a name and write about the employee here. See, I'm very creative. And then our short description as well. Can add key qualifications. And once I close that, we can see it's now been created, and I can select to use that for my CV as the default choice, the default summary of qualifications. I can switch between them here. I can also quickly delete a summary of qualifications or any of the options below. I can quickly delete that from my profile. Moving right along, we get to the main portion of the My CV page, and probably one of the most important aspects is the project experience. So at the top of the project experience, we see we have a couple of options here to filter. We can hide projects that are not included in our CV. So if I disclude that and click hide, we can see it's removed. We can sort the list by newest, ongoing and newest projects first. We can change the highlighted sections of our project experience. And what a highlighted project is in an instance where the template that we're downloading to has some kind of highlighting. Maybe it's bolded, maybe it's a shortened version or a small write-up about a specific project. The project that we highlight will be formatted in that way. Where we have include in CV, it will be the standardized information, again, according to your template. And it will transfer the information over from project experience into your template when downloading your resume. Now, again, it's very important to remember that highlighting and all of the fields that we're looking at today, in order to be downloaded and carried over into your CV, need to be coded properly within the template that you're working with. Templates is something that administrators will work with their customer success manager and with our template team to make sure that it works. Make sure that all of this information is going to be populated in the right spot when you're downloading your resume. We also have the change included section, so we can quickly exclude all sections or quickly include them all. We can also include sections with a specific role, sections with certain industries, project experience with a specific customer, and project experience with specific skills. So if we open up a blank project experience, we see we have blank information here. We have all of our fields available to us, the duration of the project, the customer name, and if we click on customer name, we'll see an approved company suggestion list. This is handled by the reference customers, again, something handled by administrator and reference manager users, so users with those specific roles. We can enter a project name, industry, approved company suggestions here. This is handled within master data. If you're curious about master data and how these approved company suggestions work, please refer to our master data webinar. That will guide administrator users on how to create these company suggestions and official industries, official options for our projects and for CV information. We have delivery location and address, if this is different maybe to the customer's address, related employer, allocation percent, individual project hours, company project hours, total project hours, company share of the project cost with a drop down below it, allowing you to change denomination here, total project cost as well, project size. We have various ranges and metrics here. If you have something else in mind that you need for a project size that you don't see within this drop-down list, please reach out to your customer success manager and they can look into getting that added into the platform for you. We have images as well. If we want to upload an image from a specific project, we can do that here. Our customer description, so describing the customer, the project description, customer value proposition, if we have this turned on again through the fields within the customization of the platform. So we can enter all of that information here. Then the role that we had in this project, if we open that up, we have the role name and what did we do in this role. So we'll see it again, an approved list of role names, but you do not need to select one of these specific roles. We can enter anything that you like into here. If I start typing in lead, we'll see I have a list here of lead architectural engineer, lead consultant, lead mechanical engineer. Well, let's say my role wasn't one of these three. I can go ahead and enter what my actual role was. And that is fine. We can have that information there. We can select to include it in the CV. We can then enter what we did in this role. We can enter that information here. And we can add as many roles as we like. Let's say we have a project that lasts over a decade and we had multiple roles throughout the project. We can go ahead and enter as many roles as we had on this one specific project. And then when we're ready to move on, we can start adding our skills. And we can see when I start typing in some skill names, again, we get approved company suggestions. We can see once that's added, that skill will appear there. And skills are very important to your project experience, so are roles, because what the system is actually going to do is it's going to automatically calculate how much experience you have with these skills based on the project duration. So if you worked on a project for 10 years and you were a lead customer success manager and you were using sales skills for all 10 of those years, the system will calculate that so that when we're looking for people with a specific amount of experience, the right resumes will be shown. Then we have our customer contacts as well. So we can add a customer contact, their name and position. We can approve if they can be included in CVs, so in the resumes, and approve them for use. Turn that on. We can then add their telephone number and email address and check off if they've been approved to be contacted. We can also enter a quote that they've given us about this project and if they've approved the use of this quote, and then some internal notes for that customer contact. And just like before, if we want, we can quickly delete a project experience as well. We can also organize our own project experience by dragging and dropping the list how we see fit. This is going to directly impact the order of projects that you see within your resume when you download it. And I'll show you what that will look like later on. Then we move on to the roles overview. Now again, the roles are being pulled directly from our project experience. We can see here I have two roles listed, bid manager and bid analyst. I can also add roles from outside of projects. I have my approved list here. So if I start looking, I can add that. The same logic applies here for skills. I can start adding my skills here. I can start typing in whatever I deem as a relevant skill to myself, and I can add that here. And if it is an approved skill, so if I start typing budgeting and forecasting, we can see that already has a category associated with it through the master data module. So once I selected that, it moves directly into methodologies. Now my skills here that are missing a category, I can grab one of these and move them into one of the associated categories, or I can leave them without a category if I want. I can create my own categories. If I were to grab one of the skills, scroll down, I can drag and drop the skill here to suggest a new category. Now again, the categories themselves are only going to be relevant if they're coded correctly within the resume using the template. So if you're not using category names within your resume for your skills, this isn't as important, but it's still a portion that we like to highlight and let you know that it is possible. We also can select to include which categories we want in our CVs. We can highlight specific categories as well. And we have this great button here at the right side of the screen for skills and roles, where we can adjust our experience levels. So we can actually manually adjust how many years of experience we have with specific skills. We can set proficiency levels as well. We can see here we have a 5-level proficiency tree. And we can do the same with roles, where I can adjust the number of years of experience that I have with a specific role. And again, this is going to tie into the search functionality and allow bid managers who are creating proposals, the ability to find the right people with the right skills and with the right experience. Moving right along, the rest of the My CV page really works in the same way that I just showed you with the previous categories. So if we look at education, we have our filters at the top. We can sort the list. We can change highlighted sections and change included sections. We can quickly add new education segments here with a duration, school or university. Again, we have an approved list from the master data, although we can enter our own options here. And it's as easy as filling that out. And if we want to add our duration as well. Moving on, then we come to work experience. Work experience is typically all of the experience that you have outside of your current organization. So things that are not project related, it might just be your tenure with other employers or with your current employer as well. So you can include all that information here. Again, we have the sorting options at the top. Certification. Do we have any certifications that we'd like to add to our resume? We can add those here. Again, certification name, the organizer of the certification, and a brief description. Courses. Are there any important courses that we want to highlight? Any fun extracurriculars that we're taking right now that we want to highlight on our resume and on our CV? Again, we can choose which ones we want to include or highlight depending on the formatting available to you in your template. Presentation. Do we have presentations that we're super proud of? Anything that we want to add to our resume? We can add the information here. We can even add certain project and presentation info here that might be relating to the RFP or the bid that you're responding to. Recommendations. Again, do we have commendations or any recommendations by a specific person? Positions. Do we hold any positions in any organizations that we want to mention? We can have that here. Mentoring. Are you part of any mentorship programs? Were you a mentor or were you a mentee to someone who mentored you? We can highlight that here. Publications. Do you have anything that you've published that you want known on your CV, on your resume? We can even attach the URL if it's published on the web. We can have that there. Honors and awards. Again, same as all the other categories that we mentioned. We named the honor and award. Was it for work? What work did we do to win this award? Who was the issuer of the award? And a description of said award. And then languages. Languages is a mandatory section. It's going to be in all of the CVs and resumes. When we're adding a language, we can select our language name. We have our approved company suggestions. So maybe your organization only works in specific languages. So you should see those there. Again, that is managed through the master data module. However, we can still enter whatever information we would like to enter here, whatever language we are proficient in or have some knowledge in, we can enter that there. Then we have our proficiency level, native. Again, we can enter any level that we like. I know there's lots of tests when it comes to languages, so maybe you've passed the Cambridge or Lower or Michigan tests if you're in Europe for your English proficiency. For other languages in North America, maybe you've passed your A1 or A2 test, or it might just be that you're a native speaker of that language, so you can add that there. Again, we can choose which languages we want to show within our CV and which ones we would like to highlight. So those are the categories of the My CV page. I'd like to show you one function before we move on. You've probably seen it in a couple of different segments here, but we have this translate feature as well. So this feature is part of our AI translation package. It is an additional package. It comes at an additional cost to your regular Flowcase contract. If you are interested in this, please contact your customer success manager and they would be able to assist you with that. Of course, only administrator users can select that this be turned on or that they approve the cost of this. But just to show you how it works, if we just click this button here, it creates an AI translation, and we can select to use this translation or try again. So if we use a translation, we can then proofread it, we can shorten the text, or we can translate it again. We can also quickly change options here and translate it to another language as well. So if I use that translation and then I switch back to the German, we see it's now still available. So if I go to download my CV in German, this is the summary of qualifications that will appear. It will be in German because I've now translated it. So once we filled in our CV, how is this going to work with the platform? What benefit do we have by making sure all of this information is accurate? Well, when we are looking for people, or when bid managers are looking for people because they're creating a new proposal, we can see we can now filter on people with specific skills or experience within a specific role and add them to our proposal. We can also compound these searches so they can get as simple or as complex as you like. So now I'm looking for someone who has at least 3 years of sales experience and who's been a customer success manager for a minimum of 4 years. Now we can see it's finding my my profile. We can also look for custom tags, so we can quickly see who's available from these business units or whatever other custom tag we want to search for. We can see different users belong to different business units and have different custom tags associated with them. Now, to learn more about proposals, we have an entire webinar dedicated to proposals. So please have a watch through that. It explains how to create new proposals, how to work in them, how to tailor resumes that are within proposals, again, how to search for people and add them to your proposal, and how to make sure that that proposal is going to be ready to win the bid for you. So now we will briefly touch on reference projects. So on the reference project screen, just as in the CV screen, we can filter on department or custom tag. We can do the same when it comes to reference projects. So we can quickly filter on projects that are within a specific country. We can remove that. Or we can look for projects that have a specific custom tag. So if we want to look for ones that have project available to use, and we want to click yes, we see, oh, okay. At the moment, only one published project is available to use, so I can copy that to my proposal. So as a normal user, you are able to create draft projects. You can also go in and read projects that have been published internally. That means they've been read through by administrators and reference managers, and they're agreed upon and that they are correct, so they publish them internally. Now, when we create a draft project, we have to select a reference customer. We cannot add a reference customer as a normal user. Only reference managers and administrators can do that. So if we select our reference customer, we can create a draft project here. Now, similar to proposals, we have an entire webinar on reference projects. So I encourage you to look through that webinar as well. It will explain how to manage reference projects for administrators and reference managers, what the workflow statuses mean, how to fill in a reference project, and everything associated with reference projects. So if we open up a draft project, we can see a nice blank project here where we have all of the fields available to us. We have our project name as well as a project ID, myself as a reference owner, meaning I can edit this project. I can add other users as reference owners as well. So that will add more collaborators to this who can go in and make adjustments to the project and to the information seen here. I can see the language that I've chosen. I can set a translation language as well. I can also quickly delete the project if I'd like to. So then we have our fields available to us: duration, project type. Again, we see an approved list from the master data, contract type, project location, project hours, project costs, project size, building owner, architect, collaborating partners. Did we work on this with anyone else? Delivery location or address. We can enter a brief project introduction here. The customer contacts that I mentioned earlier, we can enter them here, as many contacts as we'd like. Then users with this project in their CV. Once we're done entering the information into the project, we can send this project to other CVs. We don't have an official description, so we're not doing that at the moment. We can enter the official project description for CVs, so that's the project description that gets pushed to resumes. Project challenges, any project solutions associated with those challenges, customer value proposition, project skills that we used on this project, and reflections and key learning points. This is an internal field and cannot be exported to any template or to a reference project that you download. We can also add project attachments here, and we can add a link to a website if we have that available to us for this specific project. Again, for reference projects, I highly encourage you to go through the reference project webinar. It's going to be far more in depth than what we're talking about today. So if I go to delete this, we can see it's very thorough. We have to type in delete in order to be sure that we wanted to delete that. So returning back to the company overview screen, we're going to go to the My CV page. And again, I'm just going to show you quickly, now that we've added in all our information, how to download your CV. You can select your file type. We'll just select PDF, select your language, click download, and you should see your CV available to you in the default template that's been selected for you. So that brings us to the end of today's webinar. If you have any questions for us, please reach out to us through the normal chat methods and our regular support channels, You can always reach out to your customer success manager as well. They'll be able to assist you and answer any questions that you might have. Thank you for paying attention today. Have a great day.